In this silence we are bound. Greatest victory found with ease. No need to fight, no need to cease. Creeping through the twisted wood, echo shards where warriors stood. Just a breath, just a wish. No more war, no final fist. Wisdom whispers in the night. Strength and peace, no need to fight. Winners walk in soft embrace. No battle scars, no deadly taste. Silent shadows trace the ground. In this silence we are bound. Greatest victory found with ease. No need to fight, no need to cease. Silent shadows trace the ground. In this silence we are bound. Greatest victory found with ease. No need to fight, no need to cease. In the still night whispers float. In the quiet heartbeats slow. No clash, no roar, just silence. In the shadows battles won. I see through foggy veils. No swords to raise, no cries to wail. Victory's touch in ghostly hue. Darkness glows a pale blue. Silent shadows trace the ground. In this silence we are bound. Greatest victory found with ease. No need.
Alright, good morning everybody. My name's Alan from Mr. Bitey's Gaming. Alright, making sure sound worked okay. I have with me today, we're doing... Bleh. Sorry, English is not my thing this late at night. So, we're doing the last of our character interviews for the Shattered World. With me is Jace from Nemiton Studios, who's going to be playing Mickey Tarantino. Jace, how you doing today, my man?
Doing good, doing good. It's nighttime, not morning.
Morning, night, it's kind of all a blur at this point to me.
Who needs sleep?
Sleep is overrated. Um,
Completely agree.
that's why God invented caffeine, the ultimate nappy time medicine.
Nappy time.
ADHD is a bitch.
Sure is. It usually just something I enjoy. Doesn't actually keep me up, but I hear
No.
you.
Alright, so before we start talking about your character, Mickey Tarantino, let's talk about you a little bit. Bring me up to speed. I've been following your channel
Oh,
a little
little
bit.
about
I've
me.
been following your Facebook, but bring us up to speed. What you been doing lately?
Well, a lot lately has been working on this, the Shattered World with you. In between that, working on some streaming, retro games. Uh, Often Tuesdays and Thursdays, with on the weekends doing a little bit more
Okay.
unscheduled sort of stuff. Retro games. Recently, I've been doing Soul Reaver 1. Gotta love those
Oh yeah.
fantastic voice actors, but absolutely dated gameplay.
Yeah, it is.
So
Still.
aside from that, I've been working on my own art, my own creative studio, Nematon Studios. Always trying to put out stuff, especially for the season. Um, and working on my resin projects. I
Nice.
have some recently that are a lot more variety to dice cups. We're talking like a giant D20 for a dice cup, these like little mushroom houses, and just in general some uh, really colorful stuff to uh, for people to choose from. I haven't
Nice.
quite gotten as many pictures as I would like, with the The lighting's not really great when I get home from work because, 9 to 5 jobs and then doing
God,
any number of things.
God bless them.
But I'll get some of those up. But yeah, that's pretty much the bulk of it between this because we've got a con coming up next month. So we're
Yes.
working on this beginner's box and then just trying to stay up to date with everything else.
Yes. We will go more into that the con at the end of the stream, but yes, thank you for reminding me of that cuz I still don't believe it's the end of October.
No kidding. Time flies when you're just really busy.
Yeah, it does. And hi everybody that logs or the bleh, fuck.
Hi, everybody.
Hi everybody. How you doing? So,
How do we
Lloyd
get
Time
Ditch?
Super. You know what? Ohana means family. Family means piss off. Um, that is not what family means. That's what my family tended to mean. But, um, Fee, Super, Time, Lloyd, good to see all of you. Anyone else that is here and I haven't said anything yet, welcome. Um,
Welcome, welcome.
so let's go ahead and get to the interview portion. We're going to be discussing the character Jace is going to be playing. Jace, why don't you tell us about their name? I know we got it in the title card, but
Okay, so let's see. You got the picture up already.
yes.
This is Mickey Tarantino, mid. Let me bring up my information. So, age 25, not that tall, like mostly kind of on the skinny side. Rich kid. We're talking like in terms of mechanics for our I don't know if you've gone well, I know you've gone over those more in depth, but we're talking trust fund kid for both culture and occupation, aside from working for their organization. And let's just say more money than sense and prefers books to people
Sounds like my kind of character. I could use alone. I mean, friendship. I could use friendship. Friendship
and
is
books.
great. And books.
Who doesn't love books?
I, I'm a nerd. I love books. All right.
Books, PDFs, every bit of information, the entire internet.
Yes. So,
You know what they say about internet?
it's a hive of scum and villainy. Um,
I mean, that is also true.
So, real quick, if any of you have any questions about Mickey Tarantino or anything you want to ask, feel free to ask in chat. I am monitoring it, and I will get to the question as soon as I can. So, to start with, what's the basic core concept of your character?
Well, aside from being a trust fund kid, but that is secondary to the focus on the occult.
Okay.
So, mystical, magical, all that sort of thing, and knowing uh, probably high intelligence, low wisdom, if you'd have to compare it to some other systems
Yeah.
where may not necessarily know the right tack, but should be able to figure out, like say a creature's weaknesses, things like that. Um,
All
kind of
right.
a your classic anime weeaboo,
All right.
in that sort of thing, in that martial arts.
Tell me he has a
Uh,
katana and trench coat. I need to know.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Katana and
Oh,
trench coat all the way. That is actually his preferred weapon, though would
nice.
prefer not to close in. But I mean, who doesn't?
Oh, come on.
So we're
Every
talking like crafting, electronics, with a bit of a biology and occult focuses in there,
All right. I
things like that. And like I said, grew up with money, so learning things has never been difficult. Like, didn't have to work traditionally in order to go to school. That was just a given.
fair enough. So, what does his ideal future look like?
books, 1,000%. All the knowledge that one could possibly want. He's he works for Starlight Networks and
Okay.
has specifically worked his way up through to the second rank to be a researcher, and wants to be a head researcher because he doesn't want to actually be in field work. I mean,
Fair
who wants to
enough.
do that?
Half of your party, I think, enjoys field work, and the other half, very much do not. It's an interesting dynamic that's gonna occur. I like this.
He
But
is not the party face.
it's okay. You know who loves field work? Me, the narrator. Mwahaha. So, um, what is Mickey's biggest flaw or weakness?
Oh, that is a good one. I would say phobia of spiders due to an incident may cause him to potentially overreact. Um, as far as flaws, probably a bit of a know-it-all and has a bit of secrecy to him. But
Okay.
that comes from the sort of almost criminality of his family.
All right. So, thank you for bringing up the criminality. What is his primary role in society?
That is a good question because his family. Oh, that's a good question because his family is, I wouldn't quite say mobsters, but more on the uh, transportation supply demand, get people what they need without overburdening them. But the people that want those that with more money than sense, kind of like him, all those fancy toys that people wants, those they have no problems, or at least the family itself has had no problem overcharging people. Although their one rule specifically is you don't deal in people, like
Okay.
transport and all that stuff. So, like say prohibition, they would have been alcohol smugglers or run some of the underground bars and things like that.
Okay. I like that.
Now
So,
their methods are and
go ahead.
like I said, the family methods itself are can be somewhat questionable. His three older siblings, most definitely less morals.
All right. I like that. I think I can work with that in the campaign a little bit. Definitely gonna have some fun there. I'm very much getting weeaboo Jason Statham vibes from him so far. I don't know if that's what you were intending, but
Not quite Jason Statham, but uh, have you ever seen Peaky Blinders?
yes.
The main character from that, only if he was a weeaboo.
Okay. All right. I
and
like
and
that.
family of a that would be considered crooks by authorities, but may
Eh,
not necessarily like be all that bad.
the authorities are overrated. I've always felt that.
Absolutely.
So, how would others describe your character's personality?
Like I said, bit secretive, maybe not as talkative, knowledgeable.
Okay.
But if he knows something, like if you get him interested in something, he'll tell you all about it. Or if, say, the situation arises in which would be most beneficial, which would then also cover up and distract from whatever else he might be hiding, whatever secret directives or
All right.
anything else.
I like that. So, the life of an enhanced agent is not exactly one of sunshine and roses. So, under high stress situations, under pressure, how does Mickey tend to react?
Maybe not the most uh, reliable when it comes to hefty situations, considering they don't want to be in the thick of things. So may not end up being shoulder to shoulder with, say, some of our more soldier-ish characters. But when it comes to especially creepy crawlies like spiders,
All right.
uh, will probably overreact in a kill it with fire sort of way.
Hey, sometimes that's the only way to handle things.
100%.
So, on that note, um, what is his greatest source of pride or sense of accomplishment?
In that sense, his younger sister is certainly a familial responsibility, comes with a sense of duty that he doesn't necessarily feel towards the rest of his family, his three older siblings, and his mother is still alive, though not his father. Granted, he thinks his sister would probably be fine without him, and that she's the stronger personality than he is.
Okay.
She's also an enhanced, though
Okay.
works for a different organization.
Awesome. Does he know what organization she works for?
Yes. Yeah, they actually meet up roughly once a week and like have breakfast at some or at like a diner or something,
All right.
and usually keep in contact. Like I said, he's got a decent relationship with his younger sister, not so much his older siblings.
Okay. Fair enough. What drives Mickey to keep going when things get tough?
Uh, well, his younger sister, um, uh, but at the same time, uh, information, curiosity, wanting to learn, in particular his particular tarot destiny, which is summon folklore's champion, allows him to converse and summon for a short time creatures from folklore,
Nice.
and tends to like doing so when it either benefits him or when he feels they might be related to something he's researching. So
Okay.
maybe he could get a first-hand account.
Fair enough. So, real quick question. Fee brought it up in chat. For Mickey's Destiny abilities, I know he went the Folklore's champion. Did he pick up any of the fire abilities?
He did not.
Okay. So, kill it with fire is just a general state of being, not necessarily I have a flamethrower.
No, because then he would call something in order to use it. During his first incident, where he actually has been briefly through one of the tears and was accosted by a shape-shifting creature that called itself Loki at the time, though whether it was that legendary figure from mythology itself or was just using the name due to convenience, uh, he was summoned a little fire elemental to protect him during that time.
Nice. All right. So, moving on in questions. What is his code or moral compass? Does he even have one?
Morality would probably be a bit flexible when it comes from a family like his. Aside from the simple rule
No.
that the family that I mentioned, of never dealing in actual people, like I said, the needs of people, travel, uh, food, water, shelter. You don't screw people over for those, and that will gain a sense of loyalty from people usually.
Fair enough.
So in that sense, he tries to, I suppose, probably buy people's loyalty because he'll provide for the other characters no problem. Then he becomes indispensable in some fashion.
Makes sense. Um, what are his short and long term goals?
Short-term goal, build up a sizable library to delve more deeply into his destinies.
Okay.
Long-term, rank up and gain more resources from the organization. He wants that sweet, sweet head researcher for the local branch. Then he gets to tell people what to go do.
Nice.
Not that he wants the social aspect of it, just that he doesn't want to. Like I said, he'd rather spend time with the books.
Makes sense. I don't want to do this, but I don't want to do this other thing more. Therefore,
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
nice. I like it. All right.
But he
So,
but he doesn't have that grump against authority so much. So it's not like
okay.
he's going to be like, "No, I'm not going to do this." Just might be quiet, grumble.
Fair enough. Um, how does he handle relationships and friendships?
Relationships? What's that?
Spoken like a true weeb. I like it.
Yeah, that's not really his forte.
All right.
So I mean, in sort of a business context sort of relationship way, like I said, he'll probably throw money at a problem in order to achieve something. Hey, I want to go do this thing. I want to get this item. It's worked in the past. As far as friendships, like I said, he's not going to be shoulder to shoulder very often. But when it comes to like, if he could help patch up somebody, sure. He's got a few fairly useful skills in that. He's got some streetwise that he could lend to the others. Um, fairly on the perceptive side, but let's just say when it comes to getting hit, he's uh he's one of those I'm not there sort of person.
Perfect. Aren't those tracker systems in my dating sims? Yes.
Not
Dating.
anymore, not with his technology skill.
I have to remove all the tracking software from my dating sims. What the hell? So what
Decent
per?
with computers, not the greatest, but decent.
All right. What personal habits or quirks does he have?
Hmm. Well, aside from being uh slightly secretive, he doesn't really fidget or have any particular rituals. Um, quirks and habits.
I know I like asking the fun questions.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's not one I had delve so much into. That might end up coming up sort of during gameplay. Still working
Okay.
on the voice of like maybe something a bit deeper.
Fair enough. Konnichiwa, my friends. Yes.
Oh, oh man. I do not really want to get into like bad, terrible Japanese doing this.
Uh, poor weebs. Poor weebs. So, what is he willing to sacrifice to achieve his goals?
Well, he doesn't certainly have all that much loyalty, and for the most part, this will be the first time that he meets some of the other characters. So it's not necessarily and especially since they're not from the same organization, um, so it's more professional curiosity because he knows they also have no choice, just like he has no choice. In order to go on this mission, whoever's available does the thing,
Yes.
which is the general protocol. So in that way, you do a thing, but he's when it comes to certain directives, because all the organizations have their own motives. He's more willing to do those motives than probably others.
Okay.
Screwing other people doesn't exactly make friends or get the job done generally. But if it was his younger sister, yeah, he'd probably, you know, oh, there's, a fire blocking the way, or oh, god damn it, there's a spider. Okay, still gotta go.
Yep.
So he'd be more willing to face those things that he doesn't want to do in order to protect his sister.
All right. Fair enough. All right. Moving on to the next question.
All the questions.
All the questions. So let's talk a little bit more about his family life. We've danced around it a bit, but what is his relationship specifically with his parents or guardians?
Okay. So, like I said, coming from I guess you could say a minor crime boss, not quite mafia level. Um, uh, so he has um uh an older sibling, Janetta Tarantino, older sibling Jacob Tarantino. Um, yeah, I had planned for a third sibling,
Nice.
and I guess I didn't write it down. We'll get around to that. Secret sibling.
Yes.
And then me, and then his younger sister, Maya Tarantino. So there's a little bit of a naming theme in there, because his father at one point remarried. So basically, the two older siblings are the favored ones. They kind of handle the business currently, while him and his younger sister, mostly separated from the family, though they still have access to plenty of money, and they're the enhanced.
Okay.
So at some point they might get pulled in, leaves you plenty of room for plot wise, and should he ever be on the opposite side, it may end up being enemy, sort of uh, potential for enemy.
Nice. I like it. I
His
like it.
father's passed away, though his mother is still alive, but the two younger siblings run things, or rather, the two older siblings, Janetta
Okay.
and Jacob.
Cool, cool. All right. So we've got that. We've got the siblings. What family traditions or values did he grow up with?
Top rule: don't betray family. It's a classic crime family thing. People got to earn respect in some way, usually by being useful in some way. And the way that he does that, like I said, throw money at a problem. And then there's the no dealing in people, and then info sells for a high price. Now, he tends to be a little bit more free in terms of that because of wanting to share. I mean, he works for an organization that compiles info, and then he wants to give it to other teams because then that allows them to gather more resources, which then he can use.
Yes. It's a vicious cycle.
It is.
All right. So, I don't know if you've seen chat. Fee has suggested the missing sibling be named Quentin. I second this.
Oh,
And then
okay.
time
That breaks the naming cycle, but I could go for that.
naming what naming cycles are overrated.
All right.
And then time glitch, not mafia level is what he tells the cops.
True.
That's right. We're not the real bad
Absolutely.
guys.
We're just minor. We might be able to get you info on the real big guys, the big
That's
fishes.
that's right. So, how does Mickey feel about his family's place in society?
Well, having grown up in it, he's sort of come to terms with it. He doesn't, like I said, he's not on their side. He's not on anyone else's side, and more often than not, like say other people were messing with his family and they needed somebody else, he would come help them in some fashion, like whatever resources he might have to bail them out. But they don't really ask anything of him. Both him and his sister are largely ignored or estranged from the family, so they're not really involved in the day-to-day fashion.
Okay. That makes sense. I like that. What member of your character's family had the most significant influence on their life path for good or ill?
Oh, sister,
Okay.
100%. She's the only one that pays attention to him, that they have that shared trauma bond from the incident, and
Okay.
then both also sort of leaving the family and doing their own thing. Though her mostly admires her for her stronger personality than he has. She's always been able to do the things that he's not really good at, or be that personal person. she's definitely the better fighter.
Okay. Um,
So he tends to get looked at, but admires her stick-to-itiveness.
fair enough. So, outside of her, um, is he in any day-to-day contact with the rest of his family?
Yes and no. Like I
Okay.
said, not as far as the day-to-day operations of uh, you know, the business, is the variety of it. Mostly they pay him to keep his nose out of the business and keep shut. He does his thing, they do their thing, and they don't generally cross.
Okay.
His younger sister, like I said, like at least once a week, go out for breakfast or something, keep it light. Neither one of them is really gonna talk about work, as you know, they probably signed NDAs for their organizations.
Do not discuss. All right. So, their family, is this a like a capital F family, one of the major movers in the world? Is it a prestigious bloodline? The magical side of things, where do they sit?
All right. So they're not a major family or anything like that. Mostly in small tricks of making something disappear. Whether or not that's a actually full ability of the family is that they were just really good at making things disappear in a whether that's connections or maybe manipulating in some fashion, manipulating people or manipulating circumstances.
Okay. All right, I can work with that.
Not prestigious, maybe a little notorious, but not big fish. But not big fish.
All right, not big fit. There's always somebody else to point the target. I mean, another
Definitely
threat.
not in the fancy magic sort of way. His summoning is probably fancier than anything that the family ever uses.
Okay. All right, I like that. Um, family secrets. Does he know any?
Uh,
Where's
Probably one of the secrets that he's is that he took when his father passed away, and the whole will and everything, and this estate getting divvied up to the rest of the siblings and whatnot. He took some of the occult books that the family had acquired before all that was figured out, so that there was no accountability to where they were. So that might be a bone of contention if that is ever figured out by the family.
Oh, I'm
Uh,
definitely not going to use that at all.
oh, not at all.
Ah,
To which they contain some rituals which he's currently working on and hopes to someday master the entire lot of them because they come in handy, but they are neither easy or quick to learn.
yes.
But he wants more.
Ambition is both good and bad.
Certainly. While the destinies represent that day-to-day, resource pool, those rituals could be used in a much more variety sort of way. Also, the fact that destinies, don't last that long. He wants more long-term effects. He thinks long-term, which may bite him
Okay.
in the ass.
All right. So, how does your family view Mickey, or how does Mickey's family view them being an enhanced?
Largely, they don't care that much. I mean,
Okay.
they're not like I said, not super prestigious where you're like, you're an enhanced, get out of the family, you're nothing but trouble. Uh, his siblings, maybe, like I said, the more flexible morality means more things that can be used, and probably no doubt deals in some of the occult sort of things so that they can uh, make use of them because organizations love to use them. Why wouldn't the family?
Right. That makes sense.
So largely he gets ignored, uh, though his siblings handle things. Like I said, still has access to money and all that. All the money.
Cool. All right. So, with their own family being entertaining, have they created their own family, either biological or found so far?
We're right back to that relationships. What's that?
Yeah, this was probably a bad question to ask a weeb.
I mean, it
So,
doesn't exactly have D&D games or whatever to go to.
right.
Though no doubt he's got all of those systems, all of those books in game for the Shattered World.
Oh, undoubtedly. He has like first edition signed copies. I fully believe that.
100%. Wall full of, Gundams or, you know,
He's a Gundam collector.
probably every single model you could think of,
Oh, I love this idea.
every console.
Oh, this is dumb in the best of ways. I love it. So,
Not a people person.
not a people person. I'm a Gundam person. All right, so let's move on to complications. As much as I want to keep talking about Mickey's awesome Gundam collection, let's move on to complications. What is the biggest personal challenge he is currently dealing with?
Oh, that persistent fear of spiders likely still causes nightmares, even years after the event. Even though the scar is healed up, where it had shape shifted into a giant spider monster and tried to eat him and got him in the shoulder. Even though that's all healed up, it causes us some of those problems. He's
Oh yeah.
maybe not quite as strong as you would expect. Probably had to undergo some treatment for a wound like that.
All right. Um
Plus, social ineptitude.
yeah, that is a bit of a drawback a little bit. Does he have any enemies or people actively working against him that he knows about?
Not that he knows about, though. Again, if some of his secrets of having taken some of the books ever comes out, or if he ever ends up on the opposite side, like if his organization puts him on the opposite side of his family, they would probably make him choose. And me as a person, I'm not sure how that would play out at the moment, as far as how now if he was on the opposite side of his sister, 100% his sister. But
Right.
the other family members, there's some question to that.
I will definitely not be taking notes at this time on how to do that in the future. Ignore that pen scratching sound you hear.
Hmm. You're still using a pen and paper?
Absolutely. Some things must
Get
be
with the
done
times.
now. Some things must be done right.
Put some dots in technology there, my friend.
Can't hack a pen and paper.
But it can be stolen.
Try it. So, what regrets does he currently have?
Not really. He's not really the sort of person that regrets.
Okay.
Like he makes a choice, he made a choice. Like that's it. You sort of accept that outcome.
Okay. So, when we've kind of mentioned this, all enhanced the first tear appeared 5 years ago. So all enhanced became enhanced within the past 5 years. How long
Yeah.
has he been enhanced?
3 years.
3 years. Awesome.
It's given him some time to work his way up in the organization.
Okay. Trying to get that influence. I like it.
Yep. Consequently, so is his sister.
Yes. And then what organization is she part of? Did I ask that already? Or does your
Mm.
character even know?
Oh, the necessary.
Ah.
Entirely different mindset for her too.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
What could possibly go wrong?
Right. Criminal background. No, we're gonna leave that one alone. I like this idea. So, what does your character fear will happen if they fail to overcome their main challenges?
And failing to achieve his own goals, or
Yes.
uh, he wants to becoming better at his and master his abilities, but if he can't do that, um, that'd be pretty devastating. Like in particular, having that money that he has, losing that would be a major blow. So I suppose that would be a bit of a fear in having that particular, because if he doesn't have the money, he won't have the influence, he won't have as much way of gathering information, and then he'll be stuck drudging his way to the things that he wants.
He
So
doesn't
not so
want to.
much his toys taking away, but that avenue.
Okay. Mostly he just doesn't want to slum
Yeah, okay, yeah. Like I said, more money than sense.
it. Alright, so.
I mean, if he wasn't part of the organization, like if he knows if he goes against authority and loses access to his organizational toys, that would also be detrimental.
Yes.
So he's not so much against authority. He'd rather stay away from a situation than have conflict with it. Okay, so he's anti-conflict.
Anti conflict. That makes
That's
sense.
relatable.
So, how do they manage stress or anxiety?
Books
Fair enough.
and video games and collecting things. Okay, so back to his quirks. Yeah, he's a collector.
Alright, I like that. You see, you make one joke about Gundam figures, and all of a sudden you have a whole new aspect to your character's
Oh, come on, tell
identity.
me he's not the sort to be collecting weapons, martial arts weapons, and all that sort of thing as a kid.
Oh, he
You know he is.
absolutely was, and he's the type that could tell you whether it was real or imagined the history of each sword that he bought.
Oh,
Like,
no doubt.
absolutely. So significant loss or trauma.
His father that passed away, while he wasn't particularly close, uh, he sees that sort of as a more balancing force to his siblings. And without that, they kind of run roughshod over everything else. And then
Okay.
there's his um the event with the shapeshifting creature that nearly ate him. So that's trauma.
A little bit, a little bit. I almost got eaten by a giant spider. Nah, I'm fine. I walked it off.
We're talking like Harry Potter, the forest, where
Yeah.
they have those giant. Was it Aragog?
Yeah.
Yeah, like giant spider like that.
Nice. Alright. What moral or ethical dilemma is your character currently facing?
Not so much at the moment, aside from their maybe secret directives that they might be having on this upcoming mission.
No character has
Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
those. No character has those. I definitely didn't send those out. I don't know what you're
Mm-hmm.
talking about.
Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
It's all a scam. So, let's move on to the tears. When did your character first encounter the tear that made them enhanced, and what was their reaction?
That is a much longer story, and we'll have to get into that potentially audio drama wise. But in a uh, short summation, going on a trip for his father to a convention of sorts. I use convention in air quotes, and along with his sister, and the hotel was already under the effects of a tear, creating this nightmarish version of a hotel. Um, we're we're talking like think Otherworld, Silent Hill,
Nice.
uh, creepiness, at least temporarily, until they could find their way out.
Happy places. Happy places, happy thoughts. Alright. How did you discover, or how did Mickey discover his powers?
So, as I said during that encounter, both of him and his sister discovered some of their abilities. Him, in particular, summoned a fire elemental when he needed most, when he was about to be eaten.
That would be a good
So,
time
in
to
order to
summon one.
communicate with. Oh, absolutely. So, while he doesn't, in fact, wield fire itself, sometimes he talks to it.
Working on those intercommunicational skills.
Well, as much as, a sentient ball of fire can be.
Right.
Flicker to
Um,
the right if you say yes. Just like him sitting in a dark room with a candle.
yes. I like the idea. So, with his summoning abilities, I'm sure it's more than most, but how often does he interact with other supernatural beings or phenomenon? Is it something he actively searches out, or does he try to avoid it?
Probably more often than most, given his summoning and relating to folklore. Because honestly, let's face it, supernatural creatures are way more interesting than your standard run-of-the-mill people.
Fair. I
Whether
think
it's
that's
a
fair.
werewolves having to transform once a month or however often, depending on if they have those capabilities. The tales of Fae making bargains. Probably more often than a standard person. Everything is out there. That rule has come out to play that everything is out there in some
Okay.
fashion or another.
Perfect.
He wants to know about it,
So,
preferably from a distance.
yes. Alright. Have they ever been harmed or threatened by a supernatural entity?
Giant spider and whatever the shape-shifting entity is,
Alright.
whether it's still out there, nudge nudge wink wink, who knows?
No idea, no idea. So, does he have any supernatural allies, mentors, or patrons? Not just the beings he summons, but anything more long term official.
Just his sister, if you would consider that supernatural.
Okay. So that is one of those things a lot of people would, but excuse me. Got all choked up there. Um I like that. We're definitely going to play with that a little bit.
I definitely wouldn't mind getting more into our, the supernaturals of our world.
Yes.
And this provides that avenue as well as his summoning to showcase our adversary system, which I'm thrilled to get more into.
Yes. So, do you have any questions for me?
Please don't kill my character.
That's not a question. Denied.
Well, there was a question mark in there.
Uh, sorry. Narrator says no. We'll see if he can survive. So at this point, I'm going to open it up to any additional questions from the audience. Give you guys just a minute or two to figure out something. Otherwise, we are just about done.
Come on, do your worst.
Challenge accepted.
Oh, I was talking to the audience.
Nah, you didn't specify. Sorry. I have dealt with players in the past that have literally retconned my campaign. I've got
Oh, that's
anger
the
issues. I've learned from the feat of masters. I've got this. You're all dead.
Remember, narrator is not. It's not player versus narrator.
It's not player versus narrator. That was one of my key rules. God damn it.
One of those downfalls of the always the DM.
I hate it. hey, you run this session. I'm gonna play. My character is going to be no.
Character can't be God.
Give me some time. Give me some time.
What do we got? Jumping out a nearby window instead of easy mode encounter. Yeah, that
Yes.
definitely happens.
Yes. I had a bunch of players one time where there was a ruined castle I wanted them to explore, and I ain't pay enough attention to the stuff they bought when they were in town because I'm stupid. And there were stairs going down into this dungeon in this ruined castle, and they knew there were all sorts of creepy crawlies in there. So they just started rolling down bottles or barrels full of flammable material and candle wax, and basically made improvised napalm. And took out.
I don't care
this
who's in the
dungeon.
room. I cast Fireball.
I cast Fireball. That was a different, but that was we don't like your encounter. We're gonna fix it.
Hey, if that, I mean, that's certainly possible. That's like you with every system you play, you have a grappling hook, grapple gun.
The grappling gun is fun. They gave me tools and I used them to circumvent your bullshit. I mean,
How is that any different from the barrels of napalm?
less fire. Well, sometimes less fire. Sometimes I do fun things with a grappling gun.
True.
So, at this point, first I'd like to thank the audience. Thank you guys for stopping by and listening. This is the last of the character interviews. The game, again, will be on November 3rd at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. So not this Sunday, but next Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time.
This will be featuring parts of the In-Between Mall.
Yes.
With special editions by Alan.
Yes, this will be based off the beginner box, the In-Between Mall. I am making some changes, so when you get the In-Between Mall when we launch, it will not be the exact same, but it will give you a rough idea of what to expect with the system and what you as a narrator or you as a player can do to have some fun. Otherwise, Jace, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for doing this interview with me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's been a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Everybody else, y'all take